And on this Friday, February 7th, 2025 edition of Newsmakers, Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown has filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration over the president's ban on federal funding for medical institutions that provide so-called gender-affirming care. Brad Ford reports.
Washington Attorney General Nick Brown says the president's executive order strips away civil rights from entire communities. Oregon and Minnesota are joining the lawsuit. The states argue the order violates the Fifth Amendment's equal protection guarantee by singling out transgender individuals for mistreatment and discrimination. Congress authorized research and education funding for medical institutions in Washington, and they argue the president can't overrule the intent of Congress. I'm Brad Ford.
The Seattle Times reports Seattle Children's Hospital is pausing so-called gender-affirming surgeries for patients under the age of 19 in response to President Trump's executive order, which states the U.S. will, quote, not fund, sponsor, promote, assist, or support the so-called transition of a child from one sex to another. Meanwhile, California's Attorney General Rob Bonta is warning hospitals and clinics that they must continue providing gender-affirming care to transgender patients, despite President Trump's executive order. Bonta on Wednesday emphasized California's support for transgender youth and cited a recent court ruling that prevents Trump from blocking federal spending he disagrees with, as well as state laws against discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. The NCAA has changed its participation policy for transgender athletes, limiting competition in women's sports to athletes born female. The move comes one day after President Trump signed an executive order intended to ban transgender athletes from participating in girls' and women's sports. The order gives federal agencies latitude to withhold federal funding from entities that do not abide by Title IX, in alignment with the Trump administration's view, which interprets sex as the gender someone was assigned at birth. The NCAA policy change is effective immediately. A second lawsuit is challenging President Trump's executive order that opened the door to ban transgender service members from the military. It was filed Thursday by 6 active duty service members and one person seeking to join the Marines, plus the civil rights group Gender Justice League. The suit was filed in U.S. District Court in Seattle. Last week, a similar challenge was filed in U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. A Northern Virginia man is facing charges after claiming a Bible study group was a front for a human trafficking operation. Authorities say 48-year-old David Campbell of Stafford was arrested for breaking and entering, assault, and public intoxication on Wednesday. Campbell reportedly forced his way into a neighbor's home, came close to assaulting an ordained minister, and threatened to punch another man. Campbell's initial call to law enforcement indicated he was upset because someone was double parked near his home. And that's Newsmakers for this Friday, February 7th, 2025 edition. I'm Keith Black.